Your life as an SDR will present more bad than good on some days. This may be a pessimistic way to perceive an incredibly lucrative career path that I myself undertook. I was speaking with an SDR today. She just promoted from an inbound rep to an outbound SDR level 2. Rather than viewing the good of, hey, I promoted, my pay increase, I have a new opportunity to get better, she was viewing the bad of the situation, i.e., I just got a new account book, I have new reps I need to prove right, that I am talented, that I can perform. I am here to tell you that you should not run from the negative emotions or the unwelcome circumstances because they are part of the experience and they will find you. I told the rep, look, it's all gonna be okay. In the end, you will generate plenty of pipeline. Don't worry about it. Embrace the bad because it will push you to be better. Something that really stressed me out early in my SDR career was the public dashboards. You show up day one and all of a sudden everyone can see your performance relative to everyone else. All of your friends, all of your colleagues, all leadership can say, okay, Trent has made less calls than Sally today. Trent has set more pipeline than Johnny today. Trent has actually not set any meetings today. Meanwhile, Amanda set 10. What's going on there? And it really can start to get in your mind. And all of a sudden, you can go from, I'm focused on myself, I'm trying to do good, to, hey, I am jealous. Johnny does not deserve to do better than I because I stay in the office longer, I work harder. And then all of a sudden you start getting in your own way, this pseudo competition with yourself through other people, because on this dashboard you say, I am more deserving than them. And then you go look in their numbers and you say, well, their account executive actually gave them the meeting. They did no work for it. So why are they viewed as somebody that's performing better than me? And this is something that is an ugly truth, because whether you want to admit it or you don't want to admit it, if you're in sales, you're competitive and you want to be better than other people naturally. So when other people are better than you, you start to make up reasons as to why that is. And oftentimes you can't look yourself in the mirror deep in your own eyes and say, you know what, I just need to get better. You start making excuses. You start playing the blame game. You start feeling like a victim. And I felt like a victim on many days in my SDR career, especially with my good friends that I wanted them to be successful, but I didn't want them to be as successful as I was. Maybe I'm the only one who has ever felt that feeling. And the takeaway here is that nobody is coming to save you. Just because you're upset with your position on the dashboard, that is not going to change anything unless you are upset enough to say, you know what, I'm going to focus on self-development this month. I'm going to go listen to my calls. I'm going to go set up time with a colleague. I'm going to go do whatever it takes in the form of, hey, maybe I'll just control my effort and make more calls to begin outperforming those around me. Nobody is coming to save you. If you want to have more fun in your life, then you got to go have more fun. And then you got to go put yourself in better situations. Then you got to go try harder in the aspects that you want to get better at. Nobody is coming to save you. If you have ever watched an episode of Planet Earth before, you have seen and understand very well that life is not fair, especially in nature, when we see a strong lion attack and eviscerate a wounded wildebeest. In your SDR career, bad things will happen to you. All of a sudden, an account executive that you were close with will leave without saying anything. You'll get rejected. You'll get hung up on. You will feel insecure due to not performing as well relative to your peers and your friends. All of these are realities of your situation. Unlike animals in the jungle, you fortunately as a human, if you're watching this or listening to this or whatever you're doing right now, you have the ability to choose how you respond to any circumstance. Meaning, when something happens to you, rather than just automatically letting your animal brain take over and saying, that's not fair, I am dissatisfied, you can say, okay, this isn't the best set of circumstances, but I now can choose my response. You are responsible, able to choose how you wish, like a free being with free will. And this is a really important realization if you want to go to the next level in your SDR career, because so much bad will happen to you. So how do you turn the bad into a positive? For example, in my career, something that I still struggle with is when I feel behind, when I feel like I have a lot of pressure on me, what I'll do is I'll be short with people. People will be talking to me, and in my head, I will indicate, look, I really don't care what you're saying. I just want to get on to the next task so that I can further my mission. And this oftentimes comes off as rude, and people are saying, oh, this guy doesn't care, and it's something I'm working on. So what I'm trying to do now is when I feel the most stress, I try and take a deep breath, I try and calm down, and I try and actually listen and empathize with other people rather than just waiting for them to be done talking and getting on with my task. I want to truly look them in the eye, and I want to understand where are they coming from. I want them to feel heard. I want them to feel special so that I ultimately can move on with my day, and they'll remember that interaction and say, okay, at least I had a positive interaction with Trent. Something I'm working on, a lot easier said than done. But bottom line, bad things will happen, and you have the ability to choose how you want to respond. I want to bring this concept to life. If you've ever read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, which I've read multiple times and I highly recommend, he documents his journey living through the Holocaust. He was a psychologist, he was a member with high standing in society, and then all of a sudden one day he finds himself in a Nazi concentration camp. So imagine how your life would be like is if all of a sudden you're doing well, you have a family, you're happy, you've got a career, you're successful, and then all of a sudden all of that is taken away from you and you are now just a number. And in that camp, there's untold atrocities that happen. The first half of the book, he talks about how tough life was. And whenever people started to give up inside their head, whenever they felt like I have nothing left to live for, they naturally got sick and died off. And that was a part of the story. Whereas Viktor Frankl, the message in the book that I took away from and the mindset that he embodies that we can take into our careers to combat the ugly truth, which is that bad things will happen constantly, perpetually, day in and day out, is that despite any given set of circumstances, man has the ability to choose how they will respond despite any given set of circumstances. So the worst possible scenario in a concentration camp where death is intimate for the majority, he can still choose to be positive. He can still choose to say, you know what, I'm going to wake up today because if I have a why, I can bear anyhow. And that was one of the key reasons he was able to keep his immune system strong and eventually get out and then write about this concept of, look, no matter what happens, people can take everything away from you. But the last thing they cannot take away, the final remaining human freedom, is your ability to choose, act, respond despite any given set of circumstances. So now correlate that perspective to your day-to-day in your sales job and think about the next time a prospect says, no, I'm going to put you in a body bag 10 feet below the ground. I will not take your call because I've signed a 3-year contract with your competitor. Rather than getting mad, say, okay, I'll move on to the next call. I'm one no away from being a yes. The final truth that I had to embrace was accepting that I always had it inside me to become the absolute best. Early in my SDR career, on these dashboards like we're talking about, we'd go into these team meetings, there'd be 14 other people, and our leader would say, okay, here's the best performing rep this last month. And the first time I got that title, I felt bad. It made me insecure. It made me feel weird inside, saying like, hey, I'm just another person just like everyone else. And I almost strayed away from the spotlight because I didn't want to be on the pedestal. I didn't want to be viewed as the best, although I did want to be the best, and it's a weird dynamic. And in your career, you may be thinking, I want to be the best person on my team, but you're scared to actually go for it. You're scared to project it. You're scared to actually be that person. And I'm here to tell you, you, just like myself, absolutely are more than capable of being number one and striving to achieve whatever outcome you desire. You just cannot wait and you cannot shy away from the moment. I used to think so many times that I know what it takes to be the best. I know how hard I should be working, but I'm just not feeling like it today, and I'm going to start on Monday. And then I'd go party on the weekend, I'd show up Monday, and I'd say, okay, we find ourselves, we're on Wednesday, I'm ready to go out again this weekend, I'm going to try on Monday. And I'm here to ask you, why are you waiting? Why wait to become that person you always knew you should become? I now believe it is my obligation, duty, and responsibility to maximize my potential. Hopefully that manifests in being the best. Most people in sales are competitive. Every team I'm on, I want to be the best. And when I'm not at the top, it eats away at me. And it's not that I'm insecure or jealous of other people's success. I now recognize that other people's success proves what's possible for everyone, and it actually enlarges the pie. And if you're all at the same company, you're all in the same team. So ultimately, you should truly want others around you to be more successful. But if you're naturally wired like I am, it's hard to be happy for other people if you want to be number one and you're not number one. That should eat away at you. That should be a negative emotion that you can actually turn into a positive outcome, saying, hey, I want to be the best. I'm scared not to be the best. I don't want to feel what it would feel like to not be the number one. So I need to use that to push me to actually be number one. It's an ugly truth, but once you look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, that's my intention, then it becomes much easier to embrace it and actually find yourself number one on the team. In case you missed it, I am moving. I explained the entire story on Sales Prestige Podcast in depth. First link in the description below. Go watch the episode now. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button now and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you so much for the support. I'll talk to you next time.